is our personalized system of instruction PowerPoint that we're going to be using for our direct care staff. Myself and Rachel were in the editing group, and Maria and Heather were in the making this group. So we are going to go ahead and review the PowerPoint and give some feedback. So here's the first slide. I think it looks really good, very clean. Then the next slide, just a table of contents. I thought that this looked really nice, just explaining what's to come, and it was simple, clear to read and follow along. So nice job to whoever made that.
Thank you.
Then the next slide, I liked this. The comments just said how they liked how short it was. It was really clear to see. Yeah, I think there was one comment asking about citing a definition. I don't know if either of you might have been in that or made this slide, but maybe if there is a citation to add, we could add that.
Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
Of course.
We will work on that.
Of course. And then the next slide. This one is just a quick little intro on how to use the PowerPoint. I thought it was really nice that there were instructions, and they also included little icons to show what it looked like. So I thought that was really accessible and just very motivating. And then this is the introduction to the proctor. It was pretty clear, easy to read. She's clearly someone who has experience in the field and is someone that can help our direct care staff. So I really liked whoever created this page. They did a great job picking the proctor for that. And then the slide about stimuli I thought was really nice. I liked the little graphics that they included about what stimuli are and then underlining the part signaling the stimulus change. So good job to whoever made this. It looks really clean.
I do have a question. Were you able to access my notes for my script for that?
Where was that? Like on the side?
With the note. So when you hit the notes at the bottom, yes.
Down
So
here.
that's my script. I just wanted
okay.
to be sure that you were able to access it. So that's good.
Yes, thank you. I forgot that there was a little notes bottom at the button. So thank you, Heather, for pointing that out. But I think it looks good just looking over it very briefly. I think you have a good job explaining what stimuli are. I liked how you included the citation as well, referencing Cooper. Great work. And then the next slide, this is just a knowledge check. And just for the sake of the video, we're not going to be reviewing every single knowledge check. We're just going to look over them a little bit just to see that there's a variety and types of questions that are asked. So this one's a true or false, pretty simple. And then this slide, I don't know if I click on it, will it like go back to the slide, like the hyperlink thing?
So what's supposed to happen is that when you click the bubble, it's supposed to bring you to the button. So not that one. So go under knowledge check, and then you click the button, but you have to be viewing it. That's probably what the problem is. And then it'll direct you. But I do notice that one of you guys actually had mentioned that for our knowledge check questions, we didn't meet the minimum. So I'm not sure if it was you, Juliana, or Rachel, who had brought that up for the amount of questions that we need for each.
I do not think that was me then, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one of the group members had edited that. So that's something we are going to also work on with our knowledge checks, is that we have to add more questions or more answers to the question.
More answers.
So thank you for whoever did catch that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that the comment was left too on one of the slides specifically, so maybe someone can comment back to her and ask her, like, add it up together how many you guys were at to reach the total, since I think it was Elila, unless Juliana, it was you, but it is on one of these slides, so we can communicate through that.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, then the next knowledge check question, we already kind of reviewed that, so I'm not going to go through those. Moving on to reinforcement and punishment. This is just a quick overview of the different types of reinforcement and punishment. I liked this explanation that you had, Heather, for your script. I thought that it was easy to understand, and the slide is very aesthetically pleasing. I liked the pluses and the minuses. And then the next slide is just some examples, which I thought were good, including some slides or examples related to the work that we're doing, and also just like everyday examples. I thought that that's good. And then I haven't reviewed the audio yet, so I'm not really sure who did that or who was responding or who was coaching that person. But
I think that Heather, was this you or was this Ashley?
I'm going to assume it was Ashley. I did not provide any audio in my slides because I wanted to wait until you guys gave me feedback.
Okay, well, Julian, if you don't mind, on your screen, if you could extend that comment on the side. I'm just having a hard time reading. Okay, so for this one, I remember specifically positive punishment. I thought about maybe adding a bit more detail. Like the first one about positive reinforcement was detailed enough. I felt like as an example to be understood from another perspective of someone who might not be familiar with ABA or positive reinforcement, that concept in general. So I gave an example like when Sally leaves the refrigerator door open, her mom yells at her to close the door. Now, when Sally gets her lunch, she closes the refrigerator door rather than having positive punishment, just saying yelled at, given additional chores. That might not be super explanatory of the general concept if one isn't familiar with it. So maybe just adding a little bit more detail on that one. And we can also get with her coach specifically to go over this with her as well.
nice. I think that's a good plan, Rachel. And I liked those examples that you included as well. I thought those were really good and objective. And then the next knowledge check, we already kind of reviewed. I think it seemed like there needed to be some editing on the hyperlinking for this one, so I'll have to double check with whoever created this one. I just noticed this comment from Amina and Elila. So we'll need to double check with that person, but
Oh, that was me, and I will fix that. Thank you.
no worries. Nothing on the next two slides. And then for this knowledge check, I added in a comment asking if there would be a slide that shows the correct answer and maybe explains. I don't know if this would be too much work for all of the knowledge checks, but they mostly just say like, not right, click this slide to like go back and review, which I guess is actually helpful. So I guess never mind that. I feel like that if it's linking it back to like the slide where it talks about, I feel like that does the same thing. It's the same function. So never mind about that, actually. And then functions of behavior. Heather, you had a comment here saying that you needed some help with like strengthening these ideas.
Yeah, and whoever edited them, I did get a chance to fix them to reflect what was suggested. They were really good suggestions. It was like small changes that made the examples way more effective, which was nice.
Nice. Yeah, I see. I'm looking at the comments now and I saw that I added one for automatic, like adding in like something to explain like hand flapping and stuff. Yeah, so some of the other
Yeah, my
comments.
only concern with the hand flapping was I wasn't sure if our intended audience would know what hand flapping was, but I was hoping rocking was like enough of a familiar concept, I guess, for lack of
Yeah.
a better word.
Yeah,
I think
I
so,
agree.
Heather.
That's good.
Nice. I just always used, or at work, that was always one of like the first examples that they gave us, but rocking definitely works. Any sort of stem, I guess. Moving on. Then another knowledge check just about the functions of the behavior. I saw Rachel added in a comment and that person fixed it.
Yeah, really brief, just changing from automatic to automatic reinforcement just because of terminology purposes.
Nice. And then another knowledge check. This one was silly. I liked this one with the witchcraft. Very funny, Rachel. Or not Rachel, Heather, sorry.
It did make me giggle though.
I was looking at your comment, that's why I said that.
It was a good one.
And then this slide, whoever made this, I think it was Kate down here. She did a good job just making it clear and easy to follow. She also bolded like the important parts related to each function, ABC, so before, antecedent, and so on. Nice work, Kate. And then some more examples, just kind of related to the ABCs. And then another knowledge check. And then this slide about consent and assent. Once again, we didn't really review the audio feedback just because their coach hasn't really responded to them yet. So we're not going to comment on that at this time, but otherwise their definitions for consent and assent look good and are pretty objective and easy to follow along. So nice job to that person. And then just adding in some examples. Looked good. This knowledge check, Amina commented that they just needed to add in the slide saying like, yes, you got it right, or no, you got it wrong. Otherwise, it all looked good. And then this slide is about consent sensitivity in ABA and why it's important. So we have ethical practice. It looked good, but it looked like, Rachel, there was a comment that you had on it right over here.
Yeah, I just thought I really liked the definition itself. I thought maybe adding a clinical example or like an everyday example, again, for someone maybe not familiar with this concept of consent sensitivity and its importance. And I think some other people also made some comments under there. Morgan let me know on Maria's notes that she had met with the professor and examples weren't needed. So I was like, okay, awesome. But Alila made the point too, can we clarify what this means for DCS? So that might be something to think about.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And then the next slide, same thing with the adding the slide saying, yes, you got it right. No, you got it wrong. Oh, just kidding. It looks like they added in one that said correct, but it looked like Marion was struggling a little on how to do this. And Heather, it looks
So
like
maybe
you
she
tried
forgot to delete. Maybe she forgot to delete like one of them is going to be hyperlinked, because are the questions the same from 37 to 38 to comply with? And then yes, so one of them is hyperlinked and one of them's not, so we're going to have to edit that out. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And then this slide about person first and identity first language. I think this is really important. A lot of people use person first or identity first language. It's just kind of a big debate right now for some people. So I thought that this was really important to add just so we're using the correct verbiage for our patients, clients, students. Students, yes. Yeah. And then this is just an example of person first and identity first language. This just puts into perspective how this is used in everyday life when we're talking about autism. So yeah, I thought that this was a good example and pretty basic.
I had also left a comment on that I kind of take back because I was thinking, sorry, no, you're fine. I just thought I would mention it to kind of disregard this feedback because I was kind of thinking of it in the sense of how the consent sensitivity slide had a more of a descriptive definition of it. But I think the examples on the next slide for this suffice for that and are pretty understandable. So disregard that one.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And then this slide is about ableism. I think this is really important, especially in ABA and the population that we work with. I thought that this definition was really good. The only thing I might say is maybe add in a citation if possible, just because there is a lot of stuff going on this slide. There we go. These are just some examples of ableism. I think that these are pretty important and also things that we don't really consider as neurotypical people sometimes. There are different things that we take for granted that are okay for us that might not be okay for some other people. So I thought that this was really good, especially adding in those visuals. It just looked really clean.
Yes, I love those visuals. I'm not sure who did that slide, but great job.
I think that was Kate, yeah.
Yeah, it was Kate. And then she is. And then this knowledge check, I would just say adjust the formatting on this. I'm just a stickler on things looking very organized and even, but otherwise I think it looks okay. And then
yeah, no, 100%.
And mandated reporting.
Okay. So Amina just made some positive comments about this one. I thought that this was a pretty good definition. I think, is there a reference though for the Virginia Department of Social Services, or
it's at the end?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I did that one, so the references are at the end.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can go to 52. It's just another knowledge check. And then Amina also made a comment about the first example. What did she say? I'm sorry, Juliana. I wish I was able to click on it for you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Since there are no more details about whether this particular pool can be swim alone and whether, okay, well, that's a good idea. I think Maria.
Already modify it, yeah, based on the feedback. Thank you.
All right. We'll skip through some of these knowledge checks.
That is repeated because it's linked to the second knowledge check if they're getting correct.
Gotcha.
That one, but when it's the slideshow, they're not gonna notice the repeated slide.
Okay. All right. Well, that answers my question.
Yeah, I think I added like a comment on one of the slides about that. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. I made a comment about the don'ts. I felt like it needed to be maybe reworded a bit, and I think Maria already worked on that. So at first it was kind of a double negative because it said, like, don't avoid using coercion measures with your client. So that would be a do. Yeah. So we just needed to reword that one around, and I think it looks great.
Yeah, good catch. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then what did Lila put a little addition of engage in appropriate topics and conversations. I felt like that was a really professional way to kind of reword, but great do's and don'ts. I liked the examples of the appropriate interactions with clients. And then I love this of the most effective way to successfully interact with your client and giving some examples. I put over on the side here a comment about placing many demands during session to just rewording a little bit to placing several demands before pairing during session, only because I think that some ABA professionals might define many demands differently and think it's an appropriate interaction. But we would all agree that placing many demands before pairing with a client would not be appropriate. So I felt like that was maybe a little bit more clear. Great job, Maria.
It was clear. Thank you so much.
All right. And Joanna, if you want to add, I know you said the slide was already shown on here.
Yeah, we already addressed that whenever she said this was from the hyperlinked, so just disregard me.
All right. Juliana, would you like to touch on this one?
Yes, this one, I liked that this question was relevant to how we should be interacting with our clients. The only thing I said at first was that the answers seemed to be a little obvious.
Yeah.
But Maria has revised it now to make them a little less obvious. So now the answer isn't just very clear next to other answers that were more so not related or just very obviously not correct. So nice job, Maria, on fixing that.
Thank you.
All right. And then we have definition of anesthesia interventions. Heather, you had some questions. Do you have any questions about this? I wasn't able to familiarize myself with this slide before we were doing the feedback, so I'm just now seeing your questions.
I just wanted to make sure it made sense and it was like significant enough of a contribution. Like, I guess that's not the right word, but I just wanted to make sure it made sense, it was cohesive, and it felt like it made sense to how our flow goes and that it's understandable for the people the PSI is intended for. And Juliana kind of said that we were good, so that made me feel like a little bit better. So
yes, and I was able to review some of your notes on the bottom, like your scripts for the different slides, and I felt like they definitely gave more detail to even if it was like a more brief slide. So I feel like I agree with Jillian on that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And then, okay, were you able to get answers on this directly from Cooper? And I found it. Heather, were you able to make edits on Kate's suggestion on this of the examples?
Completely changed what I had from the well, I had something completely different there. So now it's reflecting what she had suggested. And then I edited it so that way to reflect I edited it so that way reflecting that our last example is going into what a high probability.
Okay, I like that transition, and I also like the way that you kind of formatted this from just like a clear challenging behavior to anesthesia intervention, like almost not solution, but something that could be used. I think that was awesome.
Thank you.
Another knowledge check. Let's see. And then Lila suggested some rewording on that slide. Heather. Oh, she gave some good
Oh my
examples.
gosh.
Yes, because the one she was helping me with the feedback because of the amount of questions we needed to now meet once reviewing like the PowerPoint.
Okay.
It does look like one of our group members just reached out to us too. If you wanted to check
Okay.
it as well, it might add clarification.
Okay. Is there a specific slide or?
Oh, and in our chat,
Okay.
they were adding some clarification.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next slides, we're gonna run right through these knowledge checks. Hypus. It looks like Kate took care of that. And then Amina made a comment below, just with some positive feedback. So we can move on to the next slide. So all look pretty good. Okay. Positive feedback. We love to see it. Looks like maybe here on the right side could use a little bit of formatting, but other than that, that's just picky. You get behavior momentum definition. Yep, that would be good to add that there. Okay. Great feedback. Love the visual. Let's see. This quote from Kate just added in that quote, and she gave a reference to add at the bottom. Looks like Ashley's done that. Oh, okay, and then just technological errors that I'll put on here that we can go back and look at. Morgan answered my question on that, so I'm gonna disregard that feedback that I left and move on to the next slide. Awesome feedback on this one. Okay, and they asked about reformatting it. Maria, were you able to figure that out, or did you need some assistance on that part?
Yeah, well, I kind of like deleted and copy pasted again from the Word document, and it still look the same. But when we add to the slideshow, it will look like without any errors, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had the same issue with my assessment tool, and I'll reach out to you. I just made it into a PDF and then like had to adjust it. So let's see. We're nearing the end. Positive feedback from Elila on this one. I just added, I love that it was included various terminology for treatment fidelity and treatment integrity. And then rewording suggestion that Elila gave, and Maria has already worked on that. Great job, Maria. All right. And ending with positive feedback. And that is all of our feedback. Heather or Maria, do you have any questions about any of the edits?
Everything's clear, guys. Thank you so much for all the feedback.
All right.
I will be stopping the video.